Hi, everyone. Good evening. Nice to meet you. Welcome to my living room. And thank you for having me. I'm very excited to share with you my own experience and journey in how I'm building and keeping actually a UX team within a company that does not have a strong focus on UX and does not fully understand yet the value of having UX designers on board. So, meaning working in a company that has a low UX maturity level. So, today I would like to guide you through the challenges which me and my team are facing, what I'm doing to overcome those challenges, and how I actually identified Endava's maturity scale or maturity stage. At the same time, I would like to use the chance to present myself. Who am I? What I'm currently doing? And what makes me qualified to speak on the given topic. Building a UX team within an organization with limited interest and understanding in UX is definitely a challenging task. So it can feel very frustrating to make changes in large organization as Endava is that shows a high resistance. So for that reason, I want to share some of my strategies or tactics that worked so far for me. And I would like to encourage people to find their opportunities to grow through some examples, which I'm going to share. Before I will jump into the kind of gossip mood, let me allow to present myself. My name is Ramona Ziemann. I'm currently head of creative service at Endava. I'm located in Chisinau in the Republic of Moldova. For those who don't know, where is Moldova? What is Moldova? Moldova is a very small country placed in between Romania and Ukraine. I'm originally from Germany and working and living in Moldova since 7 years. Moldova is now my new home country. So if you want to know for what Moldova is famous, Moldova is known for its high quality wines and is one of the largest wine producing countries in the world. At Endava, I'm currently managing a team of 12 UX and UI designers at various levels. I'm an UX award-winning designer and tech woman ambassador with over 14 years of work experience in international IT companies. I've started various UX mentorship programs to help people to create usable and accessible products by following more a data-driven iterative process. And outside of my job, I'm a mom and I love to spend time with my family. And I perform, by lifting 3 times per week, some weights. So I'm now into like sports. And of course, living in a wine country, I love to explore new flavors of wine. For those who might know me working at Crunchyroll. I'm a former lead product designer, and I had the pleasure to experience the last 6 years being part of the mobile team and pushing together with my team the subscriber numbers to more than 1 million users within less than a year by running several growth-related initiatives. Speaking about Endava, Endava is a global technology company that provides mostly software development and consultancy services to businesses in over 60 locations worldwide. So historically seen, Endava has a strong background in software engineering and works with clients across a range of industries, including finance, healthcare, retail, telecommunication, and media. So Endava is on the market since more than 20 years and grew up to a number of more than 20K employees worldwide. To give you a sense why I'm mentioning those numbers is to let you understand that the creative service discipline of which I'm part of is very young. So Endava hired one of their first dedicated designers like 7 years ago. And before that, design work was mostly done by front-end engineers, or not at all because there was not a demand for that or a request for that. The global design team is now growing, which is good. which is an indicator of growth and interest, not just internally, but also externally, since clients are demanding and requesting design work. Even if majority of my speech today will undergo a kind of finger-pointing mood, I want to emphasize that we have across 14 locations more than 200 designers who are supporting Endava's clients in designing, building, and shipping products to create value. We are able to follow a human-centered design principles, integrating the needs of people and create services that are simple, nice, and easy to use. But there is not yet a consistent approach and understanding of our design capabilities. And that being said, I joined Endava last year ago with the mission to bring more UX awareness and trying to establish a kind of UX culture. Me coming from a product-oriented company as Crunchyroll, where UX is an integrated mindset respected across teams, switching to Endava is, coming along with a lot of challenges and obstacles. So you will hear a kind of status quo and a roadmap of my journey. Before we dive into the challenges, let's define what is meant by UX maturity. So UX maturity is a kind of measure of how well a company understands and implements user-centered design principles. So companies with a high UX maturity have a strong focus on user needs and invest especially in UX research, in design, and as well in testing. While a company with low UX maturity may not even have a dedicated UX team or not even a UX processes in place and may not fully understand the value of UX. And in this context of Endava, it refers as well to how well Endava understands and values the role of a user experience and in its product development process. If we take a look on the UX maturity model, which I'm sharing right now, provided by the Nielsen Norman Group, I would categorize Endava being in a roller coaster between stage 1 and stage 3. And in the context of today, UX at Endava is mostly seen as a directional point, so it happens mostly on demand. The maturity stage depends as well on multiple factors. It's about the culture, it's about seeing UX as a strategic or non-strategic arm. It's as well about how UX is integrated within the existing process, if we are measuring UX outcomes. So understanding that UX is not just about solving user challenges, but also achieving business goals. And all these factors contribute to the success of UX awareness. I took that maturity model as an example from the Nielsen Norman Group, since that is the most known by designers. And it describes a 6-stage model and provides a framework to assess on organizations' UX-related strengths and weaknesses. So in order to evaluate Endava's UX maturity and the existent design team maturity, I used the Nielsen Norman self-assessment tool to identify the potential areas for improvement. So that was for me the starting point to see first where Endava might be, and second, looking at the team's operations on how they affect the organizational UX maturity. So you have to keep in mind, for those who want to build a UX team, before you start building a team, it's essential and important to understand your company's needs. So during my experience, I found that the UX audits, which I did, helped me to identify areas where Endava was falling short on UX. And it also helped me to kind of prioritize the areas that needed the most attention. That being said, the outcome of the research brought me to the top 4 challenges which me and my team are facing. So let's dive into that and analyze what they are. One of the biggest challenges is lack of awareness and understanding of what is user experience design. Majority of our colleagues, meaning from project managers, salespeople, over engineers to testers, does not understand the value of UX design, which result in we designers are struggling, to convince people of the importance of our work. And we lack in support and in totally misunderstanding of the value that UX work brings to the product. And me as a design manager, for me, it's as well challenging to retain people, to retain the talents and keep the team kind of motivated, being surrounded in this like kind of non-existing UX culture. So what I'm doing about it? One of my highest priorities is to kind of educate our stakeholders, educate our colleagues, and educate them about the value of UX and how it can improve actually the product and the overall business. What is highly requested are case studies and best practices. So project managers and salespeople, especially who are selling our capabilities to our clients, need and want to understand the benefits of UX. So I'm initiating several trainings, workshop session and meetups to share case studies. Projects where we applied UX or best practices and educate them on the benefits of UX, such as improved customer satisfaction and increased revenue. Lack of awareness comes as well along with limited collaboration or limited influence, and Endava or my team rarely have the opportunity to collaborate effectively with other teams such as project managers, engineering team. So lack of interest limits as well the collaboration. And design is currently treated as a nice to have asset and is rarely integrated, for example, in discovery workshops or prioritized in product development cycle. In that sense, it can be difficult for the designers to understand as well the goals and priorities and get a place, at the decision maker table. And in order to break this isolation and being a bit part of a team and improving the collaboration, I'm starting to be more vocal and create kind of community of UX champions who are involved in different departments and bring awareness of UX research. And especially during discovery phases or even even design work, be constantly in a collaborative exchange mode and share design work in progress. So it's important that we integrate people at an early stage and make them part of our process. So if we want to share design work in progress, it might be valuable to add engineers into calls and showing them what we plan to do and what we think about how certain things should work and what's the best for our users. Speaking about business cases for UX, I had many times the trouble to allocate designers on project. So one strategy have been to revisit existing projects and do an UX audit and provide not just to the client, but as well to the project managers who are leading certain projects, a comprehensive plan for how you would improve the product. So that was one option to kind of gain a kind of influence and as well being part of a collaboration. Implementing UX requires as well a shift in the company culture and mindset, and some people may be resistant to change. So one of our challenges is as well resistance to change. So if we speak about change, people are the most significant impediment to organizational change. So changing an organization which is running since decades in the same way is extremely hard, and that won't happen overnight. And one of the most crucial components of my work as a design manager is to help people to kind of overcome this natural tendency, to maintain constantly the status quo and not making an effort to kind of change and adapt to something new or to force something new. So people mostly show anxiety and resistance to change, especially if people need to get out of their comfort zone. So working towards that visible resistance is a delicate subject and need to be treated very cautious. So I can't force people to kind of do whatever I think might be the best. So during my research time, I needed as well to understand why there is such a resistance. So I had to talk with those resistors. I experienced an excellent collaboration between designers and engineers during my time working at Crunchyroll. So the ambition was as well to share those best practices which I gained with designers and with engineers at Endava. So the scope is as well to kind of share some on certain points success stories from other companies and help them to understand that collaboration between, let's take engineers as an example, is possible. Yeah. So take those best practices and show people that how you can do it better. When we speak about limited in UX expertise, usually companies with low UX maturity may not have enough UX expertise on staff. So not feeling the support can result that designers feel isolated and struggle to get the feedback and support they need to create effective designs. And what I experienced so far, not having enough expertise is as well connected with a limited budget. So we don't have a dedicated budget for UX design, which limits the tools and resources available to us. And if we have a budget, then it's a very bureaucratical effort to allocate money for trainings and workshops, and you have to provide so many arguments why it's needed, for what it's needed. And that's creates a lot of frustration. And that escalates as well to the fact that you as a designer, you don't feel valuable and kind of needed within your organization. And what I also observed is that a lot of designers in my team struggle as well to combine a bit the UX theory, putting it into practice. And since we struggle in having projects or mature projects, people might not know how to deal with certain UX challenges. So what I'm doing about is I'm always encourage my team to kind of invest in themselves by learning new skills and methodologies. So this will help them to become more valuable to any organization, not just to Endava. And it will allow, and it will also give them the confidence to become a stronger advocate for their work. So attending workshops, webinars, conferences, and as well networking with other professionals in their field is a valuable aspect which I encourage each designer. I've introduced, for example, some recap sessions where on a weekly basis people share their know-how from trainings, readings, or events. So I'm offering a space where we share best practices and analyze the gaps which needs to be filled in. So in conclusion, building a UX team in a company with low UX maturity requires a combination of education, resources, collaboration, advocacy, and adaptability. And at the same time, it also presents an opportunity for our team to lead the way in building a culture of user-centered design and demonstrating the value of UX design to our stakeholders or to our colleagues. So for those who are going through a similar experience as I do, one of the most important advices I can give is don't give up. I mean, don't expect changes are happening overnight and today and tomorrow. It can take years, months, and it implicates a lot of work. So for those people who enjoy the process of change, be aware and that you have to invest a lot of soul and patience to make things happen. And I hope that my experience was valuable and was for some of you helpful. And yeah, thank you for listening. And I hope you find this presentation helpful. And I will remain here for any questions. So please feel free
Excellent.
to ask.
So, thank you very much, Ramona. That was really kind of, I recognized a lot of that there from experience.
Yeah, it's not over
Um,
yet.
so, as Ramona said, if you have any questions, please just post them on whichever platform you're watching on, and we'll put those questions through to Ramona. But I'm going to kind of lead off the questions because one of the things I was thinking as you were going through was, okay, let's do an audit, let's kind of get people involved, let's all of these things take time, and you touched on that at the it can take years. What are the often people say you need to, particularly when you have that low maturity where stakeholders might not see the value in it, you want to get your quick wins. So, what are the things that people can do? Where should they start to try and get just that little bit of a ball rolling so that they can buy themselves a bit more of the time to get those changes to bed in?
Yeah, I think what immediately came to my mind is the way how designers are presenting their work. I do believe if we switch a bit the mindset of like taking the design head aside and not speaking just about a visual outcome, speaking as well a bit the business language, makes a huge difference for people as project managers or clients who want to understand what is the business outcome of like involving designers on a specific project, for example. Yeah? So speaking just the visual language and explaining, the surface of the design wouldn't buy in the stakeholders. So you have to switch or you have to change a bit the language, the way how you speak, the way how you present. Yeah.
Great. And now my next follow-up question on that, because I think that's really good advice. But one thing I've seen is that people don't know the business
Yeah.
language. They don't know how, like, so they're coming from the background of, okay, I know my design background,
Yeah.
so I can explain things. How do they get that insight about the business and about the business language to be able to speak in that way?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't advise to jump right away to the client and tell them or ask them, what kind of business outcome they want to achieve. But as well, if you are a newcomer, if you're a new designer, talk with your project manager, for example, because they are into, understanding the business behind the project and understanding as well what actually do they want to achieve from a business perspective, like what is important for them, making a kind of research on your project managers or product managers, or even if you have a good collaboration or state with the client, you can as well do a research on the person itself and understand what do they actually want to achieve, and gathering there the information and try to kind of switch a bit, and shifting a bit the mindset in that way.
Great. No, I think that's fabulous. So one thing I always think of is we spend so much time researching our users,
Yeah,
but our stakeholders, we
correct.
should be treating them
Yeah,
almost in the same way,
exactly.
researching their needs
Exactly.
and what they
Yeah, because they
they
are mostly the ones who are pushing back on stuff. They are basically, if you work in a client-oriented company, then mostly the stakeholders are usually the middlemans who think the best, what is the best for the end users, which sometimes might be not the right way or the right thing. So yeah.
And one of the other things that you touched on, so that there's obviously the maturity of the people as well, and you touched on that with kind of upskilling. Um, One of the things I'm seeing come out a lot more is the concept of pairing. Is that something that you have where it's kind of almost like an apprenticeship? You'd have a junior and a senior working closely together, where they're really learning by doing.
Yeah, in extent, in that example, yes, I have. I'm doing it kindly as a test to see how it works. Um, but it depends as well how how willing the usually senior designers, if we do this pairing thing, usually senior designers are allocated on projects, have not the amount of time to kind of take care of other team members. But I'm trying to kind of allocate this time, or doing this practice of pairing. So I'm running right now a test, so it's until now it works, so let's see.
Great, brilliant example. Let's do an
Yeah,
experiment. Start
an
small and then
experiment,
grow from
yeah.
there. Brilliant. Well, I think that's all we have time for with questions, but I just want to say thank you once again. I really enjoyed that talk, and I hope everybody out there did as well.
Thank you very much.